Religious freedom, the right to practice one's religion as you see fit without government interference, is a bedrock principle of our nation. After all, it's our first freedom listed in the First Amendment of our country's Constitution. Even though we often take this right for granted here domestically, most people throughout the world are not as blessed to live under a system of government that guarantees this freedom. And this is recognized by the United States as a universal human right. In fact, the 1948 Declaration of Human Rights from the United Nations established that fact. Well, each year since the passage of the International Religious Freedom Act of 1998, the U.S. State Department has released an annual report to Congress on the state of international religious freedom, and this year is no different. It was released earlier this morning. Here to react to this year's report is the former Ambassador at Large for Religious Freedom under the Trump administration, Ambassador Sam Brownback. Sam, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Tony, it's always good to join you, and thanks for highlighting this report. It's a key report each year, and it's one we need to talk a lot about.
Well, and there's a different, I say slightly different focus from this administration, from the previous administration. What were the highlights of this year's report that jumped out at you?
You know, the good piece that I like about it is their continued highlighting of the repression that's taking place in China, because China is just such a lodestar of persecution that's taking place and enabling a persecution. And it's so important that we go from administration to administration citing what is taking place in China. So I was really pleased about that. I'm still upset about last year's removal of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. That was not called for. The situation continues to be terrible, and that's shown forth as well in the report.
Well, they did recognize, I guess, in part of the narrative that some of the state governments in Nigeria are using anti-defamation and blasphemy laws to punish the people. So I don't know if that's their consolation to the criticism they've gotten for dropping Nigeria from the countries of particular concern list, but they are recognizing that there are still problems there. What other highlights from this year's report struck you?
Yeah, none in particular. Honestly, I mean, I am so glad they continue to put the report out and they continue to emphasize this issue because you've got other bodies around the world that are kind of walking away from it. You just had the UN head of human rights go to Xinjiang and not even see the concentration camps that are taking place. This was a terrible, disgraceful thing that happened to the UN, and it's harmful to the Uyghurs and the human rights and religious freedom movement there. So I'm just really pleased that the administration continues to emphasize this. This is a statutory commitment that was put on it by the Congress. It's been done by Republican and Democrat administrations. What we really need to see now is a follow-up on these things. And any time that we're in a foreign policy setting, that these issues of religious freedom, particularly things done by China, things done in Nigeria, things done by Vietnam and other countries, are raised by the administration. They're in the report. They need to be raised in these foreign policies and in foreign capitals.
Let me ask you this, Ambassador, because we worked closely together. I was on the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, and you were Ambassador, and the administration, the Trump administration, fully embraced religious freedom both domestically and as a foreign policy. In fact, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said it was their number one foreign policy issue was religious freedom. Did that set a benchmark, a standard that is forcing even this administration to recognize these problems to a certain degree that they may not have done otherwise?
I think it's raised the profile. I think it's raised the stature of the topic. I think it's made it a mainstream foreign policy issue instead of kind of a boutique issue that it had been treated as some in the past. So this topic, it's been raised and it hasn't gone down in the sense that it's a higher profile issue. And Tony, if we're going to ever really deal with genocide and crimes against humanity in the world today, you've got to talk about religious freedom because most of the time, genocides and crimes against humanity are done to a religious group of people, like the Uyghurs in China, like the Rohingya being pushed out of Burma that were Muslims, like the Christians being treated in Nigeria. You got to talk about the faith issue.
Well, in the absence of a strong voice, although I agree with you, I commend the administration that they have been raising this issue, not to the level it was before, but they are raising the issue. However, a lot of the non-government organizations, the NGOs, are taking this up, and that's one of the things you are driving next into this month, actually, end of June, will be the International Religious Freedom Summit. Tell our viewers and listeners about that.
June 28th to 30th, we'll have the largest gathering of religious freedom activists from around the world. It will take place in Washington, D.C. at the Renaissance Hotel. People can go on the Earth Summit 2022 website and sign up to come. And we're going to be talking about religious freedom around the world, what's happening in various places, and really trying to energize and connect the various parts of this body of activists that are working on religious freedom. This is a critically important topic, and we've got to have it go grassroots. It's got to go in through civil society and through the churches and the synagogues and mosques and various houses of worship around the world. We don't talk about theology at these things. We don't agree on that, but this is this common human right that we talk about, and we need to stand with each other and protect.
Yes, if we do not protect it abroad, there's a connection between promoting it here in America, protecting it here in America, and promoting it. It all goes together, and we've got to exercise that. And I appreciate your leadership on that, Sam. And of course, Family Research Council will be there, and we'll be broadcasting. Washington Watch will be broadcasting from the summit this year. Thanks so much for joining us. Always great to see you.
Good to see you, Tony. Take care. God bless.
All right.